Nawab Khan from the Kuwait News Agency. And this is a question for both of you. What is your position on the calls for an international investigation into the situation of the Rohingyas? Thank you.
Are you talking about the fact-finding mission recommended? Yes. We do not agree with it. We have dissociated ourselves from the resolution because we do not think that the resolution is in keeping with what is actually happening on the ground. As I said earlier, we accept Dr. Anand's recommendations totally because his commission went into the Rakhine state, studied the situation there, and made his recommendations based on what he had seen on the ground. If we think that the recommendations are in keeping with the real needs of the region, we would be happy to accept them. But those recommendations which will divide further the two communities in Rakhine, we will not accept because it will not help us to resolve the problems that are arising all the time.
The establishment by the Human Rights Council of or the decision to dispatch an independent international fact-finding mission is probably one of the very few issues of disagreement between us, if I can say so. Actually, I've not detected any other. We believe that this can contribute towards establishing the facts for the past, provided that, as we said before, we fully agree on the need to work together on the way forward. The fact-finding mission, to our understanding, is focused on establishing the truth on the past, and we agree on the need to focus on the future and the implementation of the recommendations that are included in the Anand report, as I said.
Many Europeans have been very supportive of you, especially during your years of house arrest and your fight for freedom and democracy and human rights. A lot of this audience is also deeply disappointed with your failure to call out the acts of murder, torture and rape in your country, and particularly the Rohingya minority. Would you condemn that now? And you've also there's also very limited access for the media to the area where these atrocities are taking place. Will you take measures to give access, free access to the media so that they can independently corroborate what has been reported by the people who are the victims of this oppression? Thanks.
I'm not quite sure what you mean by saying that we have not been at all concerned with regard to the allegations of atrocities which have taken place in the Rakhine. We have been investigating them and we have been taking action. Now, for example, you mentioned just now the question of media access. The first group of journalists that we allowed to go to the Rakhine, this was last year. I do not know if you're aware of the fact that among the people they interviewed, there was one Muslim villager, who said that atrocities had not taken place in his village. That was all he was saying, that in his village, none of the alleged atrocities have taken place. And 2 days later, he was beheaded by an extremist group who said that he had been collaborating with the authorities. I'm trying to give you an understanding of the difficulties that we have to face. This was just a simple interview with the media. He wasn't saying anything more than that atrocities had not taken place in his village. And you do not know of this incident. We did publicize it, but people are not interested. We have to think of all the communities concerned. So the second group of journalists we sent also came up with the same problem. One single journalist asked one villager about what had happened. And he said as far as his village was concerned, nothing had happened. And he too was killed sometime later. So you have to be aware of the difficulties that we face, the dangers that we face in coping with a situation where two communities have been distrustful of each other for decades and decades. Actually, the problems in the Rakhine go back to the 18th century. We are not going to be able to resolve them overnight. And all we ask for is time. We have not in any way ignored allegations of rape or murder or arson or anything. We have asked that these be placed before a court and tried. We are giving everybody an opportunity to take people to court, and we have been trying to find out what actually happened. we have not sat there doing nothing. And I think all those who live in Burma are aware of the fact that we have been looking into these. We have even instituted 3 special courts in the region to make sure that those accused of any crimes are not unfairly condemned in any way. I'm a little bit confused when you say that we have been doing nothing about it, because we've been doing everything we can all the time.